Years later, the video game market had drastically evolved. What was once a niche pleasure for the privileged has now become a thriving economy as more and more companies turn towards video game creation for profit. Video game consoles now come in a variety of shapes and sizes, and the option to not just hook up to a television, but to exist entirely separately from it in the form of handhelds. Customers now had an overabundance of choices in terms of video games, yet didn't have the funds to purchase all of these competing products. Perhaps the more wealthy crowd would be able to purchase more than one console and a handful of games, but for most people, only a single console would be able to occupy their home at this time. This meant that it was extremely important for any participating companies to create a console that would win over both the hearts and wallets of their customers using any technology available, or else they would risk falling behind in a volatile, highly dangerous market. Welcome to the 7th generation of video games, and to the console wars of 2006. At this moment, the most valuable thing to a company that can be obtained doesn't come from the mere selling of games anymore, but rather from the promise of loyal customers through the selection of their console over their competitors. Similar to Chapter 6 of Karl Marx's Capital, at this present time, value doesn't come from money, but from utility, and being able to provide something that competitors cannot. The current major contestants at play are Microsoft, Nintendo, and Sony. First up, we have Microsoft, who had somewhat of a head start compared to the other two. Released in November of 2005, the Xbox 360 came with a feature known as Xbox Live, which allowed users of the Xbox 360 to purchase and download not just video games, but music and movies as well. This was a powerful advantage, as this had the effect of allowing the Xbox 360 to take up space as a DVD player would in one's home, allowing it to potentially win over customers who were looking for a way to watch movies at home as well. This allowed for a powerful combination that would allow the 360 to sell 84 million consoles by 2017. Xbox Live also possessed a capacity for voice chat, which allowed users to communicate with one another in games in real time with the intention of coordinating tactics and strategies. However, this was short-sighted, as players would be able to use their anonymity to insult one another for being bad at video games, or for not performing up to others' expectations, which had the unfortunate effect of alienating individuals from one another. Next up was Sony with the PlayStation 3. Released a whole year after the Xbox 360 in November of 2006, the PlayStation 3 was a console designed to directly combat the features of the Xbox by using a partnership with Blu-ray in order to compete with the 360's video functionality, which was intended for Blu-ray and Sony to bolster each other's profits through a single combined device. This wasn't just a battle between Xbox and PlayStation anymore, but a battle between DVD and Blu-ray as well. However, Blu-rays weren't cheap, and the PS3 first released on the market with a hefty price tag of roughly $500 to $600 depending on the version of the console. They tried to counter this with the promise of several console exclusives, games that cannot be found on any other console. Unfortunately, some of these exclusives, such as Assassin's Creed, found their way to the Xbox 360 anyway, which caused the PlayStation 3 to lose some of its customers to them. Coupled with the 360's much cheaper price, things weren't looking too good for the PS3. Additionally, PlayStation 3 owners would find that even the games they owned cost more than the Xbox 360 copies thanks to Blu-ray, which was disastrous for business. Even their digital copies on the online PlayStation Store were just as expensive, which was likely done to not undersell their physical discs. Sony's product, while impressive, was too costly for the average consumer to reasonably choose against the others. The last of the trio would be Nintendo, with their console arriving about a week after the PlayStation 3. The Nintendo Wii went for a different approach than the other two consoles, opting to utilize a new gimmick rather than compete with the other two's processing power. The Wii utilized an infrared sensor bar that was placed near the television screen to allow the Wii Remote's laser technology to function as a pointer and to provide motion controls. However, the Wii Remote would also be used as a more traditional controller if it was held sideways, which allowed the Wii to have unique games that use either the former, the latter, or alternate between both types of controls. Additionally, due to the Wii's cheap price tag of $250, as well as its tendency to come bundled with a game at a discounted price, such as with Wii Sports, it was an advantage pick for many families. While Microsoft and Sony were focused on providing high-quality consoles, Nintendo would choose to focus more on developing its games, which allowed them to soar past their competitors with over a whopping 101 million sales by 2017. All in all, this spectacle would demonstrate that hardware wasn't always the leading factor in success in the game market. While Microsoft and Sony had spent their time trying to outdo each other with graphics and computational power, Nintendo had swooped in with a console that people could afford to buy.